played the game. We broke a rule. Open the door. Now she's out to get us.
We need to go to the police.
You can't call the cops on a ghost, Chloe.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 horror film Elevator Game. The film is directed by Rebecca McCurdy and it stars Gino Armania, Megan Best, Alec Carlos, Madison McIsaac and Verity Marks. Right, the film focuses on this new modern internet thing, the elevator game, and it's something I touched on fairly recently in another review I did a few weeks ago for a found footage film from fairly recently, 2018 I think, Followed, something like that. And essentially it is the game where you go into an elevator, push the buttons, go to floors in certain orders, follow the rules, and if you do everything correctly then it opens the door to the other side, and spooky things happen. So we have this group of individuals who make kind of their own internet show based on spooky things, spooky events, and they need to do like a quick episode to get the sponsors back on board, and one of them suggests doing an episode on the elevator game, as someone went missing recently in a hotel nearby. And it's being linked to this game. So they decide to go out to this place to film their new episode, and by following the rules for the elevator game. As you would imagine, things don't exactly go as they expect, and they are faced with the horrors of opening this new doorway to the other side. Right. What are my thoughts on elevator game? Well, much like, I think, the subgenre, sleep horrors, we've had so many horror films these last few years based on, people that can't sleep, and, you get this monster and everything. And there's never really been what I think is like a definitive, sleep horror yet, apart from Nightmare on Elm Street, but that doesn't cover the same thing for the most part. Again, this seems to be gaining popularity in horror movies, this whole idea of this elevator game thing. I don't know how long it's been going. It must have been going at least 5 years or so, like I say, because that film I covered recently, Followed, the found footage one, covered this subject. But I've yet to see one that impresses me yet, because this one really didn't impress me at all. It's tonally very, very odd, this film. It doesn't know, in the early part of the film, it doesn't know whether it wants to be a comedy, I guess. It has this weird light approach with these strange characters that are just not believable as real people. Certainly most of them, and I mean like these youths that are making this program that they put out on the internet. They've got this guy who's like their producer, I suppose, who's like same age as them, but he's like not a real person, just not a real person. And there's a couple of people within that group, again, they don't feel like real people at all. The way they act, the way they talk, the way they behave, it feels forced. So therefore, you just come away not believing these characters, and the way the majority of them are portrayed are selfish or just poorly written, to the point where I genuinely couldn't wait for something bad to happen to some of them, because I just didn't enjoy the characters at all. And there's this weird jingly jangly music playing early on in the film on the soundtrack. It sounds like you're playing a Mario game, or a Sonic game. It's just this jingly jangly stuff going off, and it's like they're trying to lighten the mood and make everybody feel happy before the horror starts. Now, if the horror really did truly start, I could maybe understand what they were trying to do. But unfortunately, this film doesn't deliver on the scares either. I certainly didn't think so. I didn't find it scary at all. At one point, I was questioning whether, it was, you know, made for, you know, if it was a 12 rated thing or something, or even PG. I mean, it was just so tame. And then there are a couple of moments in the film that put that to bed, in the sense of there's a bit of gore, you know, hands through throats and so on and so forth. You know, but even then, it's not scary. There are a couple of jump scares associated with this spirit, this entity that they are calling forth in the elevator. The girl on the 5th floor, I think they call her. And I'm guessing the person that they got to play this character is a contortionist or something, because there's some pretty impressive like body movements going on, and there's something creepy. And God rest his soul, Bray Wyatt in the WWE, you know, that crab walk he used to do. Well, the entity does that in this film, and it's pretty damn creepy when you're kind of watching it in the shadows. So there is a couple of moments there, mainly with the entity, that I thought, even though they could have given us more and they could have expanded on it, they never really fully commit to the scares and the horror in this film. It's all over far too quickly. And again, the rules don't make sense. You know, there is one character at the beginning of the film that plays the elevator game and then instantaneously dead in the elevator sort of thing, or gone missing anyway, whatever, however you want to look at it. And then they go to this building, play the elevator game, nothing happens really, and then things start happening afterwards. And you're just kind of thinking, well, where was the spirit? It came to get the other one, why isn't it coming to get them? And then it starts haunting them away from the elevator. And you're just like, well, how's it doing that? It's one of those horror films where the creature or the entity or whatever is where it needs to be to move the plot of the movie along, if you like. So the rules don't make sense of the elevator game that they play in this film. And the ending absolutely sucked as well, in my opinion. So honestly, I disliked this film. I just didn't enjoy it. I just think they absolutely missed the mark here with a good premise. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the production values are all absolutely fine. It feels polished. It's well made for the most part, even if you know, I didn't enjoy the characters, and you know how it was presented to me as an audience member. It was competently made. So in that front, it's not like sometimes you'll watch a really low budget film, and it's not only is it terrible, but the budget is so low, the acting's terrible, and the production values are terrible, and there's really nothing to recommend. It's not the case with this film. You know, it's just the concept is completely and utterly ruined. Didn't enjoy the characters. It's not scary, not really. And I just felt like they're stretching an idea, this elevator game idea. They just stretched it and bended it to kind of turn it into the movie they wanted to turn it into. But it just, for me, it didn't work at all. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.